Happy Father's Day and summer solstice, everybody. This is Christine, Jonathan, and Gerard
Hello.
talking forbidden ancient knowledge once again. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, a
You
weird
all right?
day. It was a weird day, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Weird
Yes.
energy, weird
Yes.
energy, very funny.
All kind of weird energy.
Mhm.
And I had a weird night. I had a weird day. And so, but that's how life goes. Life wouldn't be as interesting if you didn't have just those odd times. You got to have them.
Indeed.
All times of
Indeed.
challenges, indeed.
Yes. If you got a good night's sleep every single night, how boring life would be.
Indeed.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, guys. I'm exhausted. I didn't
Okay.
sleep at all. They were partying all night long.
Uh-huh.
All night they were partying, and I was
I
in a
have to teach you
disgusting.
some mantras to go to sleep. I have good mantras for sleep. So I should.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep good tonight. I spent the entire day driving around trying to get my pony fixed, and now I'm at the last repair place, and they're fixing her in there, or I think they're fixing her.
Right.
So, but that's the sauce of life. Challenges come, and you fix them, and you move on.
That's right.
I appreciated a post I saw today, though. Somebody posted it. It said, "Happy Father's Day to the imperfect fathers." Something like that. You know, not that it's not a happy Father's Day to you perfect fathers, but I appreciated the imperfectness of being a parent and someone like really driving home the point that, you know, none of us are perfect. And I don't think any of us are great. But we're all kind of doing the best we can with what we got.
I saw a pretty interesting meme about that maybe a week or two ago. And it said, when you're a child, you watch your parents grow up when they raise you, which is kind of interesting, really, when you think about it. In many ways, you don't really grow up until you are responsible for another human being, you know, in that way. Just a thought. Just
It's
a thought.
different, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's I think it's ancient. I think it's from India. I'm not sure. But it says also as your kids get older, they watch you for when you stay in a hotel to see if you're drinking Coca-Cola.
Surely coming from India.
My son caught me last night. It was funny. None of the old people caught me. He caught me. He took a screenshot and he sent it to me. He says, "Dad, that's soda on the nightstand." And so I had to explain it to him what happened, but you know, it was a long story short. Is you know, I'm getting in the hotel. I realized based in the hallways, I don't want to pass this hallway twice because I might have to fight if I come back out. Get everything that I need, and I went to the vending machine and I put my $2 in. I pressed on the T, and it said out of tea. Dang it! I said water. I don't want to spend $2 for a little thing of water, but fine, water. Out of water. The only thing I could get was a cherry Coke, which nobody should ever drink that stuff. It's a comorbidity. It'll kill you. It'll help the common cold to kill you. But I drank about this much off of the top of it, and my body just said, "You're not going to drink the rest of that, or we're going to make you throw up everything you just ate for lunch." So they watched me, and they also watched me. I was in line. I was in line at some grocery store. I was getting barbecue chips. And my son said, "Dad, can I see the bag?" I said, "No, you can't see the bag." He said, "Dad, I want to read the ingredients." I said, "No, you don't get to read the ingredients." Because I knew exactly what was in there. And that's what I do to them. That's how I raised them to be better than me. I did not raise them to be me.
They know you.
Yeah, well, you know, the human body can take a lot of abuse. And I think you're supposed to show the next generation the right way and then explain to them how imperfect you are and that you were raised at imperfect times, and they're going to be imperfect too.
Right.
But all you can do is try to do your best. And sometimes the best you can give the next generation is knowledge.
Oh, everything is a lesson.
Everything is a lesson.
Is a lesson.
Yes.
And some people learn lessons and other people don't. And those people that don't repeat their lessons until they learn them. That's
for
life.
all of us. This is for all of us.
It is. Definitely for all of us. We are all fools. We are all fools.
Yep. And
See, yeah.
What's that?
One needs to see the difference between illusion and reality, and people, we easily get caught in illusions. And reality is just life is showing what is going on, and you have to accept it.
Yeah.
And if you can't accept it, then it's our head is messing with us. So that's very important, actually. It's being humble and just accepting what's going on. I think that's a very good lesson for all of us. Be humble. This is what's happening. Accept it and move on.
Yeah. Well, there's some ancient knowledge for you. There actually was a scripture, but I can't say it because I think my brother sent it to me, and I can't get to it because I don't want to mess with this phone. This phone it overheats at the drop of a dime for anything. And anytime I'm live streaming, it stops charging and it starts overheating. So this might actually be a short one, but I start pressing buttons and bad things happen. So, but I'm not going to upgrade because all the new phones are now 5G, and I'm not getting one of those.
Right.
So I got this one intentionally because it's a 4G. It was one of the last ones, and when this one's gone, I can flip back to my old 4G, but I'm not gonna go up to 5G. I need everybody else to keep experimenting with this for a little bit longer. It hasn't, the experiment hasn't run long enough yet.
Yeah.
It was like that doctor in Africa, forgot his name, who was giving people Ovaltines to fight polio, and magically in the town that he was doing his dirty work with the macaques, HIV came out of nowhere. And there's a good lesson for you about learning your lessons, right? It's just never let billionaires put things in your body that you don't know what they're putting in your body. You know, that's the origins of HIV. And there have been multiple books written about it, but how easily people forget when they're scared into doing things that they should know better.
Especially the young generation. If I see here in Belgium, probably there too, the moms and dads say, better think twice about taking the vaccine. But the young says, no, come on, we don't want to hear the nonsense. They want to have their comfort and their easy way of living and thinking everything's going to be free again. They really don't, they're not easy to listen. They just, of course, they have their choices. They have hard lessons to learn, I think. Because the ones I know here, I mean, they're very responsible parents. The kids are grown up very free and with a lot of got a lot of comfort, and they wanted to go on their life, living their life,
right? And
thinking, it's very sad for the parents because they suffer a bit because they know, oh my God, I don't want my kids. I mean, the kids like 30 years old or what. Taking these donuts because they have also children, and you never know what might happen.
Right.
And that's a more hard lesson to learn, that if you see your children kind of poisoning themselves without knowing they're doing it or don't want to know, it's not easy. So, but that's. But then we go to Khalil Gibran. He says, your children are not your children. They're that beautiful expression from Khalil Gibran. We have to see, we have to let them go of. Surely, they have not so much choice, but.
Well, they're not yours, right?
No.
They're not yours because they're not property, right? Children, I like what Sadhguru says. He says, you don't own children. They're not cattle. They're not your property. You just got here first.
Mhm.
Right? You're not
Mhm.
smarter than them. You're not better than them. You're not stronger. You're not any of that.
That's right.
You just got here first.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you know, so you're basically you're protecting them, you're rearing them, you're giving them the best that you have to give, and then you're getting out their way for them to hopefully become an upgrade of you, if anything. But they're not, you know, they're not your kids. You have to, you know, release them to the world so they can become
Yeah.
adults. And
True, but yeah, but there's also wisdom. I mean, the old traditions, I think it's very good. They were giving from generation to generation. Now they're indoctrinated. That's the difference. If they're in the old, old lifestyle of traditional lifestyles, you have still some wisdom, but now they don't have it anymore. So actually, they are a bird for the cat, we say. Because they're totally indoctrinated. Maybe if they find out themselves this is all bullshit, it's okay, but sometimes it might be too late. I mean, nowadays, I talk for nowadays.
yeah,
So,
and that might be another one from ancient knowledge, right? I mean, children are best educated in life.
yes.
They're not best educated in front of a chalkboard
Mhm.
or you know,
No.
they're best educated because that's how we've learned for, you know, a million years or more, right? We learn from experience. We never learn from just looking at a projector or chalkboard. And that came from somebody made a great post the other day. I forgot who it was, but something to the effect that, you know, just because your kids are homeschooled doesn't really mean that you're raising, you know, children that are higher educated in a way, right? You know, I think the meme was something to the effect of, you know, we homeschool our children so they don't fit into society, they don't fit in the system.
Mhm.
And how easy people forget that even the homeschool curriculum is blessed by the state. Right? The homeschool curriculum is blessed by the kings and the lords. They approve of it. It equates their level of indoctrination. And that the power of homeschooling is that you're, as a parent, as a homeschool teacher, you can be teaching the children what parts of the approved history are very, very partial. What parts of the approved science are only parts of scientifically what's allowed into the public domain, and to be critical thinkers. You know, just
Yes.
because you homeschool a child doesn't mean that that child's going to be great. You know,
Mhm.
you have to make sure that you're giving them the right flavor to what is still state approved curriculum.
To be able to educate a child in order to spot the deceptions and lies of not only the macrocosm, you know, the government and, you know, all of its bullshit and corporations, but also the microcosm as well, the interpersonal relationships, to be able to spot liars and deceivers and people that are trying to just suck you for your energy or for your wealth or for anything else that you have. And this is also, you know, a big part of critical thinking and education. And to be able to think clearly and to be able to analyze your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own intuition, to listen to your intuition. Because we all have an intuition. But when we typically make mistakes when we aren't listening to it. When a bell goes off, you know, back there in the back of your mind, this person's, yeah, you shouldn't trust them. You know, you shouldn't trust them. And we make mistakes when we don't listen to our intuition, typically, you know.
Yeah.
Part of our education ought to be about introducing these things to children at a young age. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's a tricky thing. We can confuse intuition with wishful thinking. There's a whole thing. So listening to intuition, I think it starts from. I think when people educate children, I think when they learn to be more silent, when they learn to meditate, and and you leave them their space for their own, they will learn from nature. Like Native Americans do, they had a very strong sixth sense. But we interfere with our mind too much. But our mind we use actually for practical things. But I think the mind and the intellect and intuition many times get confused, and then you have the visual thinking. I think
Of
there are
course.
three things, and it's really have to make empty your mind, and then things come
Well, and
much
that's a
clearer.
part of knowing, and that's a part of knowing what it is that you want, what it is that you think you want, what it is that you desire, and being aware of all of it at the same time as analyzing, is what I really want, or am I really sure that what I really want is what I really want, or is as it seems, or vice versa? Are people that I'm interacting with really being genuine, or are they, deceptive, or are they lying? Are they?
Yeah, but sometimes you have an idea, an image about people, and you expect them to act like you want them to act, but they are not like that. And
Which is why you shouldn't
your
take anything
reaction
for
might
granted.
be, yeah, but your reaction might be, of our reaction might be, he's not he is not honest, but he never, or he or she never did any kind of effort to give to make you think like you think, or to make us think like you
Talking
think.
apples and
So
oranges.
it's a balance, because we have to think, we have to see what else we no, let's say it better. If we are disappointed in someone, that could be because our own expectations from someone, or it might be really the other one who's really totally it is really deceptive. But I think the balance is sometimes between, it's not always he or she, it's a lot in our mind. It's not what Sadhguru says. Most of the things we expect from other people is 95% in the mind. And when the mind is, it's not only Sadhguru's, when the mind is quiet, then you can see the person, how he or she really is. And then we anticipate on what is in front of us, and not on our ideas about that person. I mean, sorry, I cannot explain. I'm not eloquent enough, but I hope I could make it a bit clear what I wanted to say. So, anyhow.
Well, it's clear enough that you can't have expectations for other people, and
Yeah.
I swallow that completely. I mean, that's the I suppose that's one of the biggest takeaways I've had for the last 3 or 4 years interacting with the friends that I do, on social media, and that is you can't have expectations of other people. You can't tell other people what to do. You can't require that they qualify within your level of expectation of you, what you expect of them.
No, of course not.
And
then
that's
there are
across the board.
that maliciously lie to you and attempt to get into your confidence in order to use the information against you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, that's that deceit.
Reveal your secrets in order to harm you.
Yeah, that's that frenemy, right? Those are the frenemies. That's the breakdown of our society. There's actually a Bob Marley quote. I was listening to Bob the other day, and something to the effect that, the way this all works is it's designed to turn you against your brother, turn you against your sister, so that when it's time for you to go get some food, your brother must be your enemy, your sister must be your enemy. Yeah. And so whether, and you can take that, literally, or just take that, as an analogy. But the reality is that the system is designed to divide you up against everybody else. And when it's time for you to eat, you have to make an enemy of someone else. And so like the whole frenemy model, it's modelized in our society because we can't seem to want to create a new society where we work together as a collective, right? We got to fight over the capitalism or the communism or the socialism. And maybe we just don't need any more isms. Maybe every single model, the kings and queens, the wealthiest families in the world have passed us, have all failed. They work for them, but they're designed to fail for us. And so maybe we just need to make a completely new system. And that'll go back to like ancient knowledge of like, you know, Plato and his discussions on democracy, you know, Atlantis, you know, and their who's that Plato's Solon, right? His what he took away from them as far as what power does, right? Power corrupts, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if you put together the two understandings, you realize that there is no political system that will limit its own power, right? It will try to take as much power as it can until it collapses. And we seem to just repeat this cycle over and over and over and over and over.
It's like Frederick Douglass's famous saying, power concedes nothing without a demand. In other words, it only measures resistance by force. Power never concedes anything without a demand. It never has, and it never will. Well, look at our present government. They will keep going until they are stopped.
Yeah. And it's us. It's us who have to stop them and say enough. And you know, whether it's with face diapers or their belief that they can dictate health.
But that is our own responsibility. So we can say as much as possible from it's them, it's there, it's her, it's it. But if we act against our own, then it's our own responsibility.
Right.
So we have to learn to be in first place with ourselves. Do you want this? Do you want this, or do you want it not? Do you have the guts to fight against it, or just to leave it, or to walk away? And then you have to compromise or not compromise, but then you have to be honest with yourself and not blaming society. Or blaming society, yes, but but still, you can blame society. You can blame society because the system is so much indoctrinated, but still, we are the people who make the system work also. Once we realize that we make the system work like it works, then it's our responsibility or to keep complaining or to find solutions. And then like we can be constructive. And I think that's the best way to act now, because we know everything what's going on. We know it sucks and we know so much is going wrong, but still we can be constructive as much as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we not only, oh, good, my car's in there. They're working on my car. I get to go home today. But we uphold the system. We consent to the system. We may not have put it in place, but we keep it in place.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and this is why I'm probably known for saying unpopular things like, I don't celebrate Juneteenth. Get that trash away from me. People are getting excited. What the hell is wrong with you? You're not free.
Yeah.
You know, you're not, you know, you are, aren't you the same people that just spent a year marching on the street, yelling and screaming because you're tired of being treated like a slave by police officers? And now you're celebrating Juneteenth. Please try to make sense sometimes, right? You know, nobody is free. The only thing that happened after the Emancipation Proclamation is the entire nation was enslaved, right? I don't have time for that. Like, all the virtue signaling, all of the, if you keep clapping and just swallowing all the bull shizzle they put on your plate, they're going to keep putting more bull shizzle on your plate. And the children our children will always be enslaved because we can't seem to say enough is enough. We're done with every single version of slavery that you got to dish us up. No, we're not going to take your new normal. We're not going to take your next slavery. We're not going to take another flavor of it and clap. Like I'm sick to death of people in leadership, you know, cheering these things, you know, about, some efforts at freeing people in the past and they're enslaving people today. What kind of fools do we got to be to keep clapping for people like this?
What is actually 10th June? Because I don't know what holiday it is.
You don't need to know. It's just virtue signaling. You don't need to know. It's a waste of time, waste of space. Nobody was freed. Nothing significant changed. All they did was open up a slave plantation and let everybody join it. And for a moment, it felt good for some people. And very soon they realized that it was all bullshizzle. And until we call it bullshizzle, they're going to keep handing us more plates of it. That's all.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. Don't look it up. Don't waste your time. The Americans have a lot of nonsense that they continue to cheer for because it makes them feel good about a country they should not feel good about, because they don't actually have a government. Like John said a minute ago, it's a corporation. Anybody that's excited about having a corporation rule them is a very sick individual. I love you, but you're a very sick individual.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Boy, we just the ancient knowledge. I'd love to throw some smiles and some cheers here, but I'm tired, yo. I'm tired. I can't always step and fetch and dance and sing and every single time. I'm tired.
Right.
I think
That's also, you need to take time and rest and let take care of you for once.
Mm-hmm.
that day is coming. That day is not the day, Christine. That day will come where I'll finally sit down and I'll look around at the desert, and it won't look like a man-made desert. It will look like a true desert, an abundant area with a forest, lots of shade, moisture, and it does rain. The plants are still dry-ish, but they're not cactus and just dead
Good.
plants 8 months out the year. That's when I'll rest. When I start to see that my cultivation is going where I need it to, and the tropical Wallapeenies are feeling how they should, my cob house is coming together, then I'm gonna exhale a little bit. But until then, I can keep going, only because Christine, it's not work for me. What I did in corporate America, that was slavery, right? That was work. When you do things that you love, how that saying goes, you'll never work again another day in your life. And the things I do, they're hard. They're rough on my body, don't get me wrong. And it's hot as hell outside. Thank goodness this is like a heat wave that is 100 years heat wave, and it's not normal weather here. But there's a time to rest. There's a time to play. And then there is a time to really hustle. And I'm just in a hustle spot, that's all.
Mhm.
You'll be out of it soon. Someday. It'll be done.
Someday.
You'll be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, I can see. We picture you the green oasis and the nice cop houses and the nice pets and green in the pond, and it's gonna be wonderful.
That's what we got. I gotta get some palm trees. But yeah, that's it. It is going to be. And to me, I mean, to rope it back into ancient knowledge. Clean up your own mess.
Yes.
If you made it, fix it. Right? You spilled the milk, clean it up.
Yeah. But that's sorry. The gurus in India, they learned everything. You have to learn from A to Z how to survive, and how to for taking care for the planet, taking care for your brothers, your sisters, and staying in tune with the divine. So they learn from really young, from 4 years old, they learn how to deal with their environment, and even the difference. Even now in India, the children, they're very. Now maybe not so much anymore. They're very alert. If a 4 years old child in India is much more alert, 10 times, 20, 40 times more alert than a Western kid. A Western kid is looking like this. And a 4 years child in India, he sees you, he knows, hi miss, and then they ask where you have to go. They bring you, they're really alert, but that's what a kid here would never do. A Western kid would not really, is not that curious, or I don't know, but they bring you where you need to be, they tell you how to do it. It's 4 years old, those children. And then the people say, yeah, but it's child abuse. Say, what is child abuse? They learn to be very alert. They learn it from it's in their education. They have to have their attention always very focused. And that's really, you see, if you go there, it's really a joy to see those children.
I love the old quote that says, teach children how to think, not what to think.
Yeah.
They can figure out the what for themselves. Let them do the math. Let them do the research and collect the data and make their own decisions. But don't teach them what to think. You teach them how to think. You teach them how to critically think, and let them put the pieces together. And this world would be an amazing place if we would simply do that one simple thing.
Yeah. And most of the time, if they're still very young, they have very wonderful questions, but what we would not think about. But then education says, "What? This is a stupid question," or "Why you're not supposed to ask those things." I remember for myself in school that I asked, and I still remember that I was, I think, 6 years old. I asked the teacher, "Why do we need a king?" I asked, "Why do we need a king?" And what did the teacher do? She gave me a slap in my face.
Wow.
I wasn't supposed to ask the question.
Mhm.
See, I
Authority.
was 6 years old. I remember that and then you stop asking questions because you get a slap in your face, all the other children, and then the teacher calls your mom, and my mother thinks, "What did you do in school?" So she's also like, "You should behave." But see, you're not, and my father not. My father said, "Can't you not ask such a question? What's wrong with such a question?" But see.
The most important question of the last 5,000 years. Why do we need authority? Why do we need power? Why do we need people who have the ability to kill you or put you in shackles and throw you in a prison if you don't obey them? You know, if we really raised more kids that ask that very simple question, you'd have a whole group, you'd have a whole generation of children who were anti to authority. And when you have kids who are free and they're anti to authority, once again, a lot of beautiful things are going to happen in this world. But if we keep raising these slaves, you know, I think the worst thing that happened probably last year, in my view, is the entire next generation saw exactly how much of a clone and a slave the majority of us adults are. How much we will lay down, bend the knee, and kiss the butt of somebody because they got more jewels than what we have, because they're the kings and the lords of the land. And that has to stop being normalized. You know, children need to see their parents in defiance to abuse, not blessing it and begging for more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Standing on principle, standing for what is right, and defending themselves.
Right. Alone, if need be. Yes, and alone. Yes. Not worried about what other people around them do. Standing up strong, not, capitulating like a coward because they're waiting for other people to do it.
Right.
And that's really where we are right now, is you have a few bold people who are just standing up and they're just not taking it anymore. And the vast majority are just cowards.
Right. Indeed. I mean, that is how civilizations are built. I mean, the saying has gone around the internet quite a bit now, but weak men create bad times create strong men create prosperous times, and then the cycle repeats itself.
And prosperous time create weak men.
Yes.
I love that.
The thing that will interrupt that cycle is consciously training ourselves to work on ourselves in those prosperous times, because a prosperous time will encourage laziness and all the other vices. And that's what causes a downward spiral into decay and death.
Okay. I have a good movie you have to see. I saw it yesterday evening. Yeah, I love Indian movies. There's so much depth and so much more deep ethics and morals. And it's The Last Race. And you can find it on YouTube. You can download it. And it's about a kid, during the separation from India and Pakistan. So he lost his family because there was a lot of cruel happening between the Muslims and the Hindus then. And he lost his family. But that kid was, from 7 years old, he had to survive on his own. And he became extremely strong. It's like almost a saint. He became his own master. And
Mhm.
you have to see that movie. I was really in tears.
Right.
And from small, because a true story. It was a true story. It's Milka Singh. It was, and the only thing he could do, because he had to run a lot in his life, so he became a runner, because he really literally had to run away, otherwise he would be killed. And he had nothing, only bare feet to run on, and he ran in the Olympic Games with bare feet, and he won.
Wow.
He
Wow.
cannot, he could not, he can't stand shoes. Like the Native Americans, they can't
Yeah.
stand shoes too. Yeah, you have to see his story. It's amazing. But my God, he suffered like really truly. He lost his family, had to survive, went with the gang, jumped on trains, but like they do everything to survive. And then he thought, no, I have to be a good human being. And then he changed himself. I mean, he was a good human being anyhow, but he had to survive. But it's amazing. It's really a good movie. It's The Last Race, and it's an Indian movie, and it's from Milka Singh. It seems to be a world famous runner in that time. 1947, I think he
And
was.
is he from India?
He was from India. He
Wow.
was born. He was a kid when India got his independence. But then the sad things, and my guru also said that, which was also there. India got separated in Pakistan and India, because before Muslims and Hindus, they lived all together. They didn't mind, you have that religion, you have that religion. But the English were very sneaky, so they wanted to separate the Muslims from the Hindus. So there was already division.
Yeah.
And that is the communists from the English people.
Yeah.
And then they put those two people against each other. So the Muslims get angry at the Hindus, and the killing started. It was really, really awful that time, because so many, I think, thousands of people get really cruel killed, stabbed with knives, children beaten dead. And that's just because the English they were losing, so they got the independence, but they were really, indoctrinating the Muslims and the Hindus different.
Right.
That is actually the reason. Otherwise, they would have been still India without with Muslims and Hindus.
One thing that that colonial powers did was that there's different strata or different ethnic groups within their colony. They will make one of them, they get privileges, and so they pit the natives against each other. Typical.
Yeah.
They've been doing that all over the world for thousands of years, and it's scary that we don't have people with enough of a historical background to understand that.
Right.
I mean, even from America, like that was where you got the different classes from that were based in skin color. It had nothing to do with racism. It had to do with the government that you people seem to love so much. Not you people. Dividing people up to make sure that they get to stay in the chair of the lords, and the people, the owner class, stayed above them.
Right.
They lock in those classifications, and they just get you to fight each other. And it goes right back to what Bob Marley said. Right. And it's something about, and when you got to get some food, your brother has to be your enemy. And that was what the Rwandan genocide was about. I mean, going back prior, it was the Dutch. The Dutch created two races of people, and it had nothing to do, once again, they couldn't use skin color, so they used the tribal backgrounds.
Yes.
They divide them up, they give them race cards, and that bubbled down into the economic collapse and the division that ended up in one privileged group, one not so, and the whole Rwandan genocide. They've been playing this bullshit on us for the longest time. At what point? This is why I think written language was so important, and why I love scriptures and I love ancient text, because these schemes and scams and these cycles, they play out over generations. And so the only people who will actually know what is going on are the people who have a historical reference that they can look back and they can see, oh, wow, they did this before and now they're doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
We need to change our behavior and act differently because they're doing the same cycles over and over and over to stay in power, because our reaction is consistently the same generation to generation.
Yeah, and now it's the jabs and the non-jabs. I mean, the donuts and the non-donuters.
Doesn't matter what side you're on,
Yeah.
as long as you're on a side, they
Right.
win. That's all they want. You know, mask or no mask, left or right, black or white, Republican or Democrat, American or China, China or Russia, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't really matter what it is, whatever, male or female, you know. And this is, I think this is my disgust with identity. Is first of all,
Yeah.
none of those identities are actually you. You're a unique individual and nobody else on this planet is like you. And two, they just use it like a cow tag, right? How these cows running around my property all day. They got these tags on their ears,
Yeah.
you know, so the farmer can identify them and so he can treat them by groups. And that's what they do with all of these identities. Once you adopt and you accept that that's who you are, they can change and modify your behavior by just putting a news report on television.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyhow, we are in changing times, so this is a big transition time. So people, I mean, the people who are realizing this, they might enter in the new in the new world where everybody has to be. You cannot come, I think, in that new world or that higher awareness of world if you're not a personality. There is no group thinking nor herd immunity. Herd immunity, yes, not herd thinking.
Yeah, I don't know, to me, if it's a change or a transition. To me, I see this as an opportunity. I think that when these cycles begin to restart, we have the ability to modify it so that it becomes something different and we can transcend it into something else, or we can change it into something else. But the majority of time, we just let that cycle repeat. So I think we're in a time of opportunity more than anything else.
Yeah.
You know, where we're given just enough stimulus that the system sucks. You can replace it if you want to, but you got to change your behavior to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some will, and some won't.
Change. Believe it or not, you actually have to do. You actually have to change. Yeah. You just
Are
do.
you sure? Do I have to, or can I just vote for somebody to change me for me?
You're already doing it.
Yeah,
You're
that's
already doing
me, yeah.
Do we have to, or can we just keep asking the people with the most jewels to do it for us?
Yeah.
Ask them for cures and help and what we should do.
Yeah, the thing, but even energy-wise, how more you take responsible for yourself, how more energy the divine gives to you, and how more are you supported. All the strong people who are very strong personalities, they're totally most of the time they're protected, or they just went their way because they had such strong confidence in themselves, and they get support by that. That's the only way you get support. And how more you need your outside world, how less you're supported, actually. That's a kind of divine rule.
Yeah.
It's kind of a... If you want to explore, you explore.
We want to actually do some lit or not? Or do we just want to wrap this up? Or
but,
up to you.
Yeah. But
what do you think?
Maybe Gerard must be tired, I think.
He's tired.
Yeah. But yeah.
Do I look that bad? Really?
No, you look.
I look that beat more out.
No, you look good.
All because someone tried to steal the rims on my car.
Oh, okay.
But to say it the right way.
I'm going to a party later on, so I got to go pick up my date and do fun stuff.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, and to say it the right way, no one's trying to steal the rims on my car because my car's rims were stolen before I bought them. So the whole car was stolen from another country, and the minerals and all of that conflict type stuff. No, I'm fine. We can do a little lit and then do a little
Okay.
summary and wrap it up. I'm good with that. Mhm.
Good.
I
So
gotta
this is
put on the light. It's dark here.
What's that?
I
What's
gotta
that?
put on the light. The light.
Oh yeah, it's dark over there. Yeah. So this is from Sun Men of the Americas again. This is chapter 3. We're on chapter 3 now, and it is called Ancient Wisdom: The Religion of the Indian. We have seen how the teaching of the Brotherhood of Light was brought to America by teachers from a continent now submerged, and how centers of this brotherhood were established there, and the people taught the divine laws of life. This teaching is known very simply as, quote, the ancient wisdom. The ancient wisdom contains all man needs to know about his creator, himself, and the divine laws which govern life. And in one form or another, it has been handed down through the ages from generation to generation all over the world. In the chapters which follow, I hope to show how the beliefs and way of life of the American Indians have their origin in this ancient wisdom, and what we, in our present civilization, can learn from the way of life adopted so long ago. White Eagle tells us, quote, behind all religions, through all the ages, is one truth. This is the ancient wisdom, brought to man in the beginning by God-men, messengers of the Great Spirit. From
Aliens. I'm sorry.
If you study this ancient wisdom, you will recognize how its influence pervades all religions. This one truth. It comes to light again and again, and yet again in many a representation, which means to make present again, in the now. Whatever the forms or the symbols used to set forth truth, when you go back to the foundation, you will find there the seeds of ancient belief, the ancient wisdom. As it was in the beginning, is now, and always shall be. Ancient wisdom sets forth a plan of life which embraces heaven and earth, as above in the heavens, so it manifests below on the earth. It is the wisdom of the heart. It enshrines knowledge of the divine fires and creative powers with which all men are endowed, and of the divine laws which govern all life. Pretty good, huh?
Mm-hmm. Should be like that. Mm-hmm.
It should be like that, yeah. Yeah, well, maybe again it will be. We can hope.
Should be.
Maybe it will be. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well,
we're in a very dark time right now. And I think I feel like we're all being like tested right now. You know,
it's the end of Kali Yuga, so
it is the end of Kali Yuga, and it's grade time. Saturn is handing out grades to people, so
handing out grades, but the test isn't over, right?
No,
you know what I like. It's like we're a fish in the pond.
Well,
and we're being baited.
We're seeing ourselves and others for what we really are. You know, you look at government. They can't hide this shit anymore.
No. That's also everybody gets revealed. Even we are getting revealed.
In a big way.
Every untruth in ourselves gets revealed. If we confront with each other, we cannot hide anymore, because that is also what the light does. We have to go, and all things which are not truth in us has to go out too.
Right.
And that we learn in confrontation, or we see it ourselves through meditation, or through life, actually, generally. And all those people who don't want to see it, I don't think they will go to that transition time.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately,
well, not everybody can see it. Right?
No.
It's not. It's when it's kind of how, like, a lot of portions of scripture were written, in parables, right, and analogies, right. This knowledge isn't for everybody. This knowledge is for those who have ears to hear, and not everybody has an ear to hear. A lot of people have ears because they hold their glasses up. All right. A lot of people have ears for a lot of different reasons, but it's not for everybody to hear.
Right.
You know, and
No,
maybe
it's not.
there is a, yeah,
And,
maybe
and
there is
that's
a,
fine. I mean, some people aren't ready. Some people need to repeat a cycle. Some people need more lessons. Some people need a second chance. Some people need, education. Some people need a smack on the head. Some people need help, a leg up. Some people need, any number of things, I think.
some people
Yeah.
need to be reincarnated as the people they abuse.
Bingo.
But yeah. But this
Well-
is we're living now in the time of the last judgment. I think we are we are going, or we are not part. We are going with the evolution, or we're thrown out of the evolution.
Right.
I mean, the Earth gets on a higher level, and it's our choice, yes or no. And the Earth is not emotional. Say, oh yeah, okay. I mean, we think in emotions, or we feel for others, but life is quite balanced. This is the way, and you're a part of it, or you're not. It doesn't. I mean. That is surrendering to how it should be, and we as humans can think, yeah, but don't you think? But that doesn't help. That's why it's very important to be, to take up your power to do the right thing,
Right.
and to teach others that too. Because by being overindulging with other people's mistakes, you don't help them. You can have compassion, but it is not enough. You have to also lift them up and put them on their feet, and they have to go the right path, especially young children.
Yeah, now is certainly a time for building people up, not tearing them down. People are all of our people have been torn down long enough. We don't need to help tear down anyone else. I mean, think about how battered a group of people have to be that the common cold kills them. How battered does your immune system has to be? How stressed out do you need to be? How unhealthily poisoned do people have to be? I mean, we've been poisoned by body, mind, psychologically. Now is a time for building people up. Now is a time for boosting immunity. Now is a time for strength and empowering each other. We don't need to beat each other down anymore. The government, corporations that are pretending to be a government, they've already done a great job of that. And now we know that they're all in league. We know that there are global powers, and they act globally together against the masses. And so now is the time to rise up, but we need strength in each other. We don't need to weaken each other.
Right. We don't.
Yeah, true.
We don't. And things like pettiness and
I mean, indulging is not building people up. To indulge in their behavior and let them, that doesn't help.
Indulge in their self-adulation, in gossip, in petty bickering and things like that.
Yeah.
There is some wonderful drama happening amongst our friends, and I do everything I can to dodge. Seems like every week is something.
Yeah.
Every week is something. Somebody did something. Huh?
The block button is your friend.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't blocked anybody though. I'm still a non-blocker and a non-deleter. I prefer to let people spew ignorance because it's a good teacher down the road. And so, my page has always been a free page. Let people say anything they want to say, but we're in this ever-ending cycle of drama where there's just some more little petty drama that's being brought up amongst, what do they call it, truthers. I hate that word.
Yes.
I had to tell someone the other day.
That is the thing,
they said, well, you're a truther, aren't you? I said, no, I'm not. I have no idea. I don't even know what you're talking about. Truther. I didn't come up with that name, and I'm not a part. I am an individual. I stand on my own two, by my own two. I am all the weirdos on my friends list, I love them to death, but they're weirdos, every last one of them. That's why they're there. They
That's your
think
choice.
differently. Yeah, I appreciate that they think differently, but I'm not affiliated with anybody on the internet. I'm not affiliated with anybody in the real world. I am an individual and I'm manifesting my own existence.
Mhm.
You know, but these little drama clicks and all this stuff that's happening, it's rather insanity to me. But you know, let people do what they want to do. You know,
Yeah.
it's where we are. Once again, you know, you
Exactly.
you you you
There it
have
is.
to let people trip over their own shoelaces sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, and sometimes when someone tries to trip you, they only trip themselves because they, in trying to rip off your mask, expose themselves for what they really are.
But that's emotion book. Facebook is emotion book.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah.
If you go to another site,
Well,
you
it's
don't
it's
see.
it's 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 more than just emotions. It's
Wow.
whatever unresolved karma they have within themselves that is manifesting automatically
Yeah.
in
But
their behavior.
yeah, but it's true. But Laurie says if you love someone, you tell them the truth, how painful
Oh,
it
indeed.
all
But
it
that's
is.
different from what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw her comment. It's very
Yeah,
good.
well, everything though comes with discernment, right? And
Indeed.
this is
Yeah.
why, you know, nobody should take anything I say and run to the bank with it, right? You have to do your own discernment of what to do, when to do, how to do it, and when to do it. If you're doing what I'm doing, you're going to fail. I mean, mostly where I am in my life and my walk is I let people be people. I let them be them, and it's all self work right now. I appreciate what Buddha said a second ago. Hold on. That's all you can do is work on yourself. The rest is bullshit. And that's what I resonate with right now. Like other people have to do other things and they should go do those things. But for me, everything is self work. I have so much work to do on myself. I don't have time for other people. I love other people and I'd love to help them and correct them and whatever, but I don't have any time. I have so many logs in my eye. Your sawdust is not my business. I don't have any time.
Exactly.
That's the Bible's fear. That's actually the best thing. Why talking about the beam in other people's eyes? But no, about the fault in other people. If you have a beam in your eye, actually, it goes for all of us. I think. Yeah, that's why we just and that's why we just have to live our life like we think is best for ourselves. And if we can learn from others, it's good. If we don't, then maybe another time we do. So we cannot force people to do what we think they have to do.
Well, it's like you said earlier. Some people have to repeat this cycle. They're not ready. They're not baked.
Right.
You know, some people, the pie already did the bing, you're ready to go. You're not going to do Earth again. You're going to go do something else.
Yeah.
Other people need to come back. They need to come back and be the people that they abuse. They need to come back and be the people that they've oppressed. They need to come back and be the people that they turn their backs on. They need to come back and be the people they starved. And others, the pie is done.
Sometimes you receive what you've done to others in a future lifetime, but sometimes
not so far away. It can
past lifetime or within this lifetime. You know?
But no, it's even not that far. I mean, I can yell at somebody for something, and then later on, or I do the same mistake I did it 2 days ago in this house. I mean, it's not that far. We don't have to fall. It's just in daily life. It's easy to see sometimes. Like, oh my God, I was all the time complaining. He didn't do the dishwasher. He didn't put the things away, and I leave a whole day. I leave everything standing. For example, the small things, but many times it's very easy little things. Instead of thinking too much about past lives of lives in the future, I think it's better the daily confrontations with every whom you meet are the best lessons. It doesn't have to be someone you think you might have met in your life before. We might meet somebody else with kind of same behavior that we can learn from. It doesn't have to be that same person. So I don't believe I believe that people meet each other back again when they have been together in life before or something, or they have to learn something from each other. But still, it doesn't matter if we remember our incarnations or reincarnations. whatever we need to learn, I think life puts in front of us. We don't have to look for it. There is enough in front of us
Shakespeare talks
to
about
learn from.
Shakespeare talks about setting, his tragedies are setting up situations where, one person, harms another person. Let's say it's Iago harming Othello, and Iago has, a grudge against Othello. And so what does he do? He sets up this test in order to, and Iago, by the way, the spelling of Iago is Iao, which is the name for the divinity in the mystery schools. So the tempter, the villain in Shakespeare, is the divine, testing the hero. And then sometimes in the play later on, the hero who has risen above and through the struggles is given an opportunity. They come back into contact with that villain later on in the play. And there's a choice: forgiveness and mercy or revenge. And there's a pathway. And if there is forgiveness, like in As You Like It, then it ends in a comedy and in marriages and happiness and parties and things like that. If revenge is chosen, then it ends in a tragedy and everyone dies at the end of the play. So Shakespeare is very wise psychologically about this, that we are the person that has harmed us and they are us. And that we're all interconnected. And if we find that when someone harms us, if we look back in our past, even in this life, we realize I did the same thing to someone else.
Yes,
And then we realize that we're all connected. We're all connected, and no one is free because we're all fools. Because we are all fools, and that knowing that helps us to forgive. Granted,
it's a good example.
That has a knife at our throat. We should not forgive an enemy that has a knife at our throat. But to show mercy to people that have done us wrong, because we have oftentimes done the same thing to other people, that's wisdom. So hopefully that makes sense.
It does. The beautiful thing I see with Shakespeare is, and Plato and the rest of them, and that is simply that sociology has not changed.
No.
People have not changed. We are the same fools that we've been for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. They knew it then, we know it now. We might have faster cars and cell phones and internets and all these things, but as of yet, none of that has helped us to stop being the same damn fools we were 3,000 years ago.
Wow.
And so the beauty of literature for me, Jonathan, is just seeing clearly that the prophets then are saying what the prophets now are saying. The teachers then are saying what the teachers now are saying. Those who get it and the wise ones then are saying the exact same thing the wise ones now are saying, because we, the children, are not learning.
No. If you commit revenge, guess what? The son of your enemy is going to come and seek revenge from you. That's Greek tragedy. Greek tragedy. It'll just go round and round, and no one will be healed.
Right.
There you go.
No war is ever won.
No
revolution is ever won.
It's a vicious circle. If you keep taking revenge for revenge for revenge, that's why you have to rise above it and forgive, and then it stops. That only stops the cycle is forgiving. That's why actually it's very important to do that.
Well, it's an abuse cycle, right? Like, I don't watch the news, and I have zero interest in what the United States Incorporated is doing. But I have a good feeling they're going to abuse people, right? They're going to blow up some people and steal their resources and steal their countries and change borders. And like you said, it's an abuse cycle, right? The son of the people that you abuse, they'll come back and they'll avenge their father and their grandfather and their grandmother and their great-grand. And so it never stops, because we won't stop cheering the abuse cycle. We keep taking psychopaths and put them in places of position and honor.
Right.
And so the cycle of abuse never stops. But hey, we don't like bullies, and we're against domestic violence and any other virtue signaling we can come up. We don't like slavery, and we're for world peace and all the other nonsense. So, all right, let's start to wrap this bag of snakes up. It's 106 out here. My
Right.
sweat is sweating.
Wow. Yeah.
And
40. We had this week like 30, 33 Celsius. So that's 20, no, that's 10 less than you have. So, oh my God, what it's going to be in the desert.
Get your sunscreen, Christine. Get your sunscreen.
Oh, yes. Everybody gets darker out here. We all crispify out here. And some of us blacken like catfish. So.
I wonder if there's an herbal thing that would help with, sunburn and.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I bet there are.
A lot. I can give you a whole. Hey, right. I've been to Greece a long time ago, and I had no sunscreen, and I fell asleep at the beach. I was a tomato when I woke up, totally, really badly burned. But then it healed by itself. I did some plant on it, and then for the rest of the summer, because I was living there for a while. My skin gets such a beautiful, nice tan. And I could be 30 degrees, 35 degrees. My skin was as strong as hell. So I don't use so much sunscreen. I don't want to, I want to hydrate it, but I don't want to put too much, Because it's also training. I was really,
Right.
Anyhow. But I need to be prepared slowly for the heat.
Well, people like you and me with fair skin, we've got to be careful,
No, I know I don't walk in the sun when I don't have to.
Yeah.
But I take a hat and I cover myself. I will not sunbathe in the desert in my bikini. No way. So,
I tell you, my hat gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Every time I buy a new hat, I used to make jokes about like big hat, like the 50-gallon hats and sombreros and stuff. Now, oh no, I'm looking for something about umbrella size.
Yeah. Like Mexican hat.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But the heat, every storm comes to an end. Every heat wave comes to an end. And even these cycles we're in, they too will come to an end. I think we're only given the leeway that we don't have to repeat the cycle a million times. We can repeat it and stop at the 9,000th time. We don't have to go any further. But one thing's for sure about this life, we repeat lessons until we get them. We're going to keep burning our hand on the stove with governments and corporations and power and authority. We're going to keep burning that hand until we realize the oven is hot. And the oven is never safe. The oven will always burn you. There is no safe temperature. It's always going to get you. So, all right, let's do some wrap up. Okay. Someone have a last wise word for us?
Well, despite the heat and the sun, it is still a beautiful world. It is. So go out and enjoy it.
Every day.
Yeah, indeed.
Every day. Are we good, Christine?
We're good. Yes. I think just everyday life teaches actually so much. We don't have to look too much in the past or in the future. Everyday life. If we want to see ourselves, just living together with people, you learn so much. Very simple things.
Indeed.
It's not as exciting maybe, but it is you can learn a lot. Also to learn to set your boundaries, very important.
Yes.
Set your boundaries, live simple. Get it, got it, and I'm gone. All right. Thank you so much, you guys. This has been Christine, Jonathan, and Gerard. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next week.
Break the chains that bind me, 'cause 'cause I wanna break the chains that bind you. Do you wanna set the world free, have perfect harmony? Isn't it time for that? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people from the bottom to the top? Make modern slavery stop. Do you wanna let go of the prisoners? See everyone happy. We can have this and more if we open up the doors. Well, what do you think about that? Do you wanna free, boom, boom, free the people? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people and Mother Nature too? Close down all the zoos. Do you wanna boom, 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 boom? Do you wanna boom, 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 boom? Do you wanna free,